Hey everybody, welcome back to the shack. So here we got the PS2 P70 open, and we're gonna take a look at this interesting card. So anybody who's into PS2s knows that getting sound on a PS2, a microchannel one at least, is very hard. So luckily there's some guys today who are actually making reproduction microchannel stuff, which is actually kind of amazing. So now I know I'm not the first one to do a video on this, but you know, I got one myself. So this is a Resound to OPL3 MC8. This is from techselect.com. I'll put a link down at the bottom of the video and in the description. I suggest taking a look at their site. They have some pretty cool goodies. So this is basically a clone ad-lib card for microchannel computers. So the ad-lib was well known in the late 80s and early 90s for producing music and kind of rudimentary sound effects. So it wasn't a great card for sound in terms of like digitized sound, because it's incapable of doing digitized sound, but it's great for music. It's no MT32 or true MIDI device, but it's a good card on its own right. So this is obviously is a reproduction. This is actually not even a reproduction of anything. This is actually a totally new card. It's just using the old Yamaha OPL3 synthesizer chip, which are still available today. So they still make them. So I'm using a different camera because I'm hoping this one has better sound reproduction, because I want everyone to hear what this thing sounds like. So this is a 16-bit microchannel card, even though technically it doesn't even need the full 16 bits, because the original ad-lib was only an 8-bit card, but there is no 8-bit microchannel slot. So what we're going to do is we're going to install this in the bottom slot here, in slot 2 of the P70, which is a 16-bit slot. So one thing is, if any of you buy the Resound card, it does not come with a bracket. The end brackets are not readily available like on ISA cards. So they actually tell you when you buy it that you do not get the bracket, and they actually designed it so you could take a bracket off of a they suggested an IBM token ring card, because token ring cards are useless today. So, and those things are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. I actually took this off of a different card because I don't have a token ring card, and I did a little modification to it so it works, just so it has a bracket on it. And we're going to put this in the computer, and I'm going to load up some DOS games and show you what gaming is like on the IBM Personal System 2 with both the plasma display and a regular, I'm going to hook it up to an LCD monitor, and we're going to have the Resound card hooked up for sound. So I'm not going to show you installing the card or anything like that, because I already went through installing a microchannel card in one video. So if you want to see that, take a look at the installing the microchannel card video, and that will go through all that with you. So we're just going to skip ahead right to a DOS prompt. Okay, so here we got the computer all set up. So nothing's changed. Still the same machine. This here, in case I haven't described this before, this is a hard drive. It is very yellow. So it is actually a backpack brand hard drive. This is a 420 meg IDE hard drive, and it actually connects through the parallel port. And the funny thing is everybody has very horrible memories of parallel port drives. This thing is actually faster than the internal hard drive by a long shot. So, you know. So we're going to power on. Now I got the external monitor hooked up. So we're going to be using, this is a 23-inch LCD display, so it's going to look a little weird because things are going to be stretched. So, but this is, we're going to be looking at it on this monitor, and I have my good speakers hooked up. So here we go. We're going to do the boot up. Hopefully the camera will focus. There we go. So right now the computer is booting into IBM DOS 7. So here we go. We're now booted into DOS 7.0 revision 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what games we have installed. So I have a couple games. I've been having some issues getting some of these games to work properly on this computer because the VGA card is kind of odd. So, but I am going to show you at least 2 or 3 games, and we're going to see how they run on a stock system. And then I'm going to show you the same 3 games in, I'm showing them to you first in color. So this will be 256 colors on an LCD screen. And then I'm going to show you the same games on the amber monochrome screen, which now they're only going to be in 16 colors on there. So first thing we're going to do, first game we're going to load up is Space Quest 3, which is one of my all-time favorite games. And I've actually been playing the crap out of this game since I installed it on here. This game does use mouse, but I find a mouse is kind of pointless. So and from here the game starts. And as you can tell, in Space Quest 3, which was actually one of the very first games to use the AdLib and the MT32 and even the Sound Blaster, that the sound is awesome, and it even has sound effects. So, whoops. And this is an SCI game, so everything's done pretty much on the text line. So even though you don't have to, it has a horribly long introduction, but thankfully you can bypass it every time. So this is Monolith Burger. This is about halfway through the game right here, and this is one of the catchy tunes that you hear. And I want to show you some sound effects. As you see, I just got my ass kicked. I thought it would have sound effects, but maybe not. So, but that's Space Quest 3. Like I said, this is one of my absolute favorite games of all times. I originally played this on a 286, so this game actually runs really good on a 286, so it runs absolutely wonderful on a 386. So, now next we're going to show you one more era appropriate game, and then we're going to show you a slightly newer game. Okay, so we're going to go back in here, and we're going to go into King 6. We're going to go into Commander Keen 6. Whoops. Oh. DOS commands are very cryptic. So, as you see here, you see the game actually detects what what's available to it. It says we have CGA, EGA, and VGA modes. Now we're playing an EGA. This is actually an EGA game. So, and then you see we have a PC speaker and then Sound Blaster / AdLib. Commander Keen does have digitized sound, but it's not really heavily used, which is why this is a good game for just a plain AdLib sound card. So we're just going to go in here and start a new game. And I really haven't played this, so this is another one of my favorite games. But you see there's see, now this is another game that actually makes really heavy use of the AdLib card. Even in regular gameplay for sound effects. A lot of games actually didn't do that. The AdLib actually has 9 audio channels. So if you don't use all 9 of them for music, I mean, you can use a couple of them for sound effects. So, and a lot of games did that back in this time. Now this game actually came out in, I think, 91. It came out before Doom. This is from id Software. This is one of their earlier franchises. I actually wish they would have still kept up with this after the 3D Doom craze, but you know, unfortunately they didn't. This is the last installment of the game. So as you can see, it looks great. It sounds wonderful. So and this is the cool thing about old PC stuff is this is episode 8. It's called Dead in the Desert. It's the episode of The Universe is Toast. This is actually a fan-made game. It's using the original Commander Keen engine and everything, and they modded it into a totally new episode. There's actually 2 of these, and they're completely awesome. I mean, they use the same exact graphics, style, and everything as the final games did, and that's cool because they actually did very good with that. So they just changed the enemies, they changed the maps, you know. But this is a new game. I think this game's only a couple years, maybe 5 or 6 years old. So, and as you can tell, they're still using the ad-lib sound effects. And I just died. So, okay, so we're gonna play one more game, or show you one more game. And it's Wolfenstein 3D. Everybody's saying, well, play Doom on it. Nobody has any idea how horrible Doom is on one of these. So I am playing using the mouse, because Wolfenstein 3D does not play well with the keyboard. And as you can see, there's rudimentary sound effects. There's actually digitized speech and stuff in the original game and with the Sound Blaster, but with the ad-lib version you just get some rudimentary sound effects, but it's enough to give you an idea. And if all you had was an ad-lib card, I mean, you thought you were pretty hot. So, you know, this game does not play the greatest on this machine. It doesn't play badly though. It's pretty smooth. So, and I'll show you a game that actually uses the Wolfenstein 3D engine. It came out a couple years later. That actually has some really awesome music. Not a great game, but it does have some pretty good music. But as you can see, this game is very, very stuttery. It's playable, but it's not the best. You really should have a higher end 386 to play this. Let's see if we can load another music track here. There we go. That's a good one. So there's some rudimentary sound effects. They're not quite as good as Wolfenstein 3D personally, but this game is, it's really sluggish. Really needs a 486 to play properly. So now we're going to take a look at the same games. I'm not going to look at Corridor 7 on the plasma screen because it's very painful. But now we'll look at a quick clip of the same 3 games on the plasma display so you can see what the difference is. So now I'm going to show you what gaming is like on the actual built-in gas plasma display. And I'm not going to, go through playing nearly as long as I did on the color display. So this is Space Quest 3. The sound's not going to be any different, obviously. But you can see, you can definitely see what the difference is. Now you have to remember this is 16 gray scale monitor. It's 16 orange scale. And there is a noticeable flicker because of the refresh of the display. Not really much I can do about that. You don't see that in person. There is no flickering. So, but I'll let play out here a little bit, and then you can see some of the difference in the display. Now, Space Quest 3 came out in 1989, so it's actually very appropriate for this computer. It was designed to run on a 286. Actually, I think it could even run on an 8086. Because it could actually be run off a floppy disk if it had to be. So, but obviously I'm running it off a hard drive. I'm hoping this camera's focusing okay, because it does have some focusing problems sometimes. So we're going to skip the intro here. Thankfully you can do that on Space Quest 3. And you can see that the gameplay is actually pretty good. It actually shows up really well on the monochrome screen. There's a lot of nuances you don't notice, you know, being a monochrome screen. Like in the background, there's these little splotches on the wall, and they're better defined on the color screen than they are on the monochrome screen. Just little details like that, you know. And then you also notice that the screen is smaller, and that's because when it goes into actual VGA display mode, the screen shrinks when it goes to 320 by 200, which is the standard VGA game resolution. So, like when you're in DOS mode, you're straight up 80 by 25, but you know, it shrinks a little bit. And this is actually pretty typical of computers of this era, because screen scaling was not a thing then like it is today. So we're going to quit. And if I ever get a DOS prompt back. That's the only thing I've ever had trouble with Space Quest 3. Every once in a blue moon, it like freezes up the computer. I don't know why. It only does it when you're quitting. So we're going to reboot now and come right back. Alright, we're back. So we're going to just load up one more game. And this is a brand new game. Done by the 8-bit guy, David Murray. It's called Planet X3. I really haven't played it too much, so... But he has some pretty kick-ass music in this game. Unfortunately, the sound effects all come through the PC speaker, which is ridiculously small on this this computer. So we're just going to start, and here we are. As you see, he actually coded this game specifically to be very playable on just about anything you could throw it at. So, not much to, you know, I'm not going to get into gameplay or anything like that, because I really don't know how to play the game yet. I haven't really played it too much, but it's kind of like StarCraft, just on a smaller scale, running under DOS. So, but as you can see, the graphics are pretty good. It's very playable. So, anybody who is deciding to get a a computer like this with a gas plasma display, and they were fairly common in the 80s. You can still play games on it. And the plasma displays are all VGA to my knowledge, so you shouldn't have too much trouble outputting to a standard VGA monitor either. So, but that's the sound card and the gameplay on the P70, and the sound card is pretty good. I mean, I don't really notice any issues with it. You know, it's going to be one of those things you're going to have to find things that'll work with an ad-lib card. Unfortunately, a Sound Blaster card for a PS2 is running around $2,000 right now. And there's some other options. There was an IBM MACPA. It's a media audio capture playback adapter, which does sort of work. It's not 100% Sound Blaster compatible, so there's always some anomalies with it, but it does work. And there's the actual real ad-lib card, which if you find one of those for a microchannel computer, you expect to pay a couple $1,000s for that as well. The Sound Blaster 16 is probably the most sought after, and they go for several $1,000s. Because they were none of these were common options for a PS2, because these were mostly business machines. These weren't really marketed to the home user, so finding actual working sound for these is getting harder and harder. But thanks to the guys at Tech Select who made the Resound, it works wonderful. It works just like a regular ad-lib. There's no software to configure. It's simply plug and play. You run your reference disk, install your ADF file, and that's it. There's no options. It's made to be completely compatible with the ad-lib card. And it does use a slightly newer synthesizer chip, so, you know, there's always a possibility something's not going to be perfect. The only gripe that and it's not even a gripe, the only thing I've noticed with it is you really have to have a good set of speakers. If you don't have good speakers with good amplification, the sound's not going to be great. There's no amplification on the card. The original ad-lib was amplified. It actually had a volume knob on it. This one, however, is not amplified at all. It's a straight up line level output. So if you don't have a good set of speakers to use it with, your sound's going to be pretty soft. But that's the only kind of, and it's not even a gripe. That's the only thing I've noticed with it. It's retailing for $59.95 at TechSelect, TEXELECT.com. I'll put a web link in the description and on the screen. And you know, you have to pay shipping. But they're really good, and there's more stuff in the works. There's another gentleman making an actual FM synth card, a true FM synth card for the microchannel bus right now. He actually made a prototype. He's making a couple of actual, I guess you could call them beta versions. I would like to be able to obtain one of those and do a video on it, but that's going to be entirely up to him, and of course my budget. Because you know, this channel's not sponsored, so everything you see is coming out of my pocket. So, and I'm kind of hoping somebody can make a Sound Blaster clone in the future that works. You can't make a Sound Blaster copy, because I can guarantee Creative Labs would probably sue the pants off whoever does. But I'd like to see one of those in the future, so we can have full digitized sound and whatnot. So that's going to conclude this video. Stay tuned. The next video is going to be a live stream. It's not going to be on my channel. It's going to be on Mac84's channel, Steve Matarazzo. So all my followers, keep an eye on his channel. There's going to be a live stream. We're going to kind of have a PS2 party in a way. He's going to give me my floppy drive back. We're going to put the new floppy drive in, the rebuilt floppy drive in, and hopefully get this computer back up and running 100% the way it's supposed to be. I have a rigged up floppy drive at the moment. It works fine. Looks like crap, but it does work fine. It's actually a laptop drive. It was a brand new old stock drive I found on eBay for really cheap, for about, it cost me about $15 with shipping and everything. Definitely a hell of a deal. So if anybody's into PS2s and they need a cheap floppy drive solution just to get them by, I can definitely give you a edge of where to look for those, and they work fine. The guy had a lot of them. I think they're for either N33 or L40 laptops. They're 1.4 meg drives, so they're for the older laptops. But it works fine. It uses the same direct bus attachment interface as the original floppy does. So. And but then we're also going to try to do local talk networking on a PS2 into an Apple, and possibly into an Apple image writer. So we're going to have a kind of IBM Apple crossover show coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I always welcome your comments. Leave them below. So thank you very much.